Oh hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Another one where we're working on this guy here. That's our F-22 Raptor by Hasegawa. So if you could please get that started and then we'll get into it. Alright guys, we are going to get started today. We got our weapons bay complete. This is our main weapons bay. It's all done now. And I was talking to my client who has asked me to build this thing in the first place. And he wants to display this plane in flight with all the weapons bays and landing gear bays closed, which basically means all the detail that I did in the last episode is not going to be seen ever because the doors are going to be closed, which means I didn't have to fight with any of this stuff on the inside. And that also means I won't have to do any of the detail on the other weapons bays or any of the detail on the landing gear bays. That doesn't mean I'm not going to show you guys though. I'm still going to do it. Okay, so you guys still get to see the whole process for this kit, because I think that would be cheating if I didn't show you guys all the different stuff you need to do to actually build this kit to have all the bays open. Okay, so I'll still do it, don't worry. But in saying that, if I compare this kit to the Italeri one that I did before, that kit was not really designed to have all the bay doors closed. Hasegawa, on the other hand, they give you the two options. They give you the parts to have the doors open or closed. This sprue is exactly what I'm talking about. These two big wide ones you're going to use those if you want to have the weapons bay door closed, and if you want them open, you're going to use these ones and these ones, right? So yeah, these ones are for the side ones where the AMRAAMs go in on each side. There's this door and this door, and if you have them open, you use these four pieces, right? So yeah, and then if you use this, it's this. This is actually two, so this one, and then you would use, like, say, these two, and this one would be these two. So that's all that, and that's nice. Hasegawa gives you that option. Even Tamiya, sometimes they don't really give you the options, and if you want to actually put the doors closed, they don't fit quite perfectly, right? Even Tamiya does that. So it's sometimes that's just the way it goes. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. Okay, anyway, so I'll change the camera and we'll see what's next. Okay, overhead cam, here we go. Alright, so I think my contrast on this camera is a little too... If I flip the page back, we got our weapon bay all finished, right? That's all done. So now it's our, they're calling it the sub-weapon bay, okay? And that's this guy here, these two. So let's get our parts out and we'll start looking at what exactly is involved, alright? Looks like we've got a couple of trees to look at. We got mostly our E tree, but also our F, and one little part from our J tree. So let's dig these out. Okay. Here we go here with our two big buckets. And I think about the amount of time I spent trying to get these nicely painted white, only to find out he doesn't want them displayed. It's kind of a waste of time, but you know, customer's always right? So yeah. Okay, trying to figure out, this is the F tree. There's an F? You kidding me? Oh, because this is F66 and 69. And we're doing 67. Okay. Where's our E tree? Okay, we have 2 E trees. There's going to be all these little bits and bytes along here. Okay. And of course we've got 2 E trees. So let's clean up these ugly looking nubs. I'm going to change my glasses here. These ugly looking nubs, they got to be taken care of. They do put them on the side here so that you don't really have to worry about it too much, but if you leave the nubs, I think I remember from experience from building my other one that this edge does fit flush and you need to have it clean and smooth. That is important on this kit. So make sure you clean up your nubs on this part and have it so it will fit in on the fuselage. Make sure you do that. Now, for this kit, what I'm building, I'm only going to put these in here for a little bit of structural integrity and to add a little weight. Okay. My client wants to actually have this plane hanging from the ceiling, kind of thing. So for his thing, it's just about looking nice. I'm just making sure this is smooth, right? That's the whole purpose of this. It's going to be smooth. There. Because eventually, grab the fuselage. Eventually this piece is going to go in here. It's going to go in here, I believe, like this. It's going to sit in there like that. Okay? That's how it's going to go. Once we're all got all our little bits in there, that's how it's going to go. Okay? Okay. So this one's cleaned up. That's ready. Let's do this one now. Man, that's nasty. So they put the nub right on the edge, and you can see how this, it comes up here, it goes like this, and then it gets like this, right on a corner. And that's where they put the nub, is right there. Which is a bit of a nightmare for cleaning up. And it does kind of sit in a little slot on the fuselage, so you do have to do your due diligence in cleaning these up and getting them smooth. Otherwise it won't want to fit flush. There we go. There we go. Okay. And we have our little back walls. And that one came off clean. Nice. Okay. All right. So we take, I think aesthetically, I think these are identical. I don't think they're left and rights, even though Oh, actually they are. They are lefts and rights. Okay. So, this one is the F-69 and this one is the F-66. Okay. So the walls are going to match up like this. Okay. Just like that. Put them in just like that. Okay. Let's grab my glue. Okay. That's one. There we go. Okay, our back walls are in. Now technically that's all I have to do. For this kit and his build, that's all I would have to do. I don't think, and I'm only doing it because in order to put the panels on, you need to have something for them to rest against, right? Which technically I could just put a piece of styrene in here on the edge, and then that would be good to go. And I see a little imperfection here on the fuselage. Where sprue was, the reinforcement sprues that they've had in there for when it was in the box. There we go, smooth now. Yeah, okay. But we got our little bits, so we'll go with, it kind of goes in numerical order almost. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, like that. I'll do this for one side, I'll show you guys. So there's 17. $19, $20, $21. Sorry, this is 21, 22, and 23. So I'll do it for this side, okay? So we can see here all of our little bits, and they're all going to go onto these little blocks. They all fit in a certain way. They all have just the way it's going to fit on that little block. It's going to go right there. Okay. Just like that. Okay, next we're going to have our little buttons facing down. I'm just going to go in right there. Again, buttons facing down. This one we want our kind of longer arms facing up. Like that. Then we have this guy. No. We got these guys. Yeah. I seem to have two of these on the same sprue for some reason. And that's a little weird. Anyway, the small one goes next. Like this. Like that. And then we have this big guy going right here. Doesn't seem to want to sit on his little block. It goes right up top there. Go. And we got our final one. This guy here goes right there. Just like that. Okay, and I have one extra. So there we have it. There's all our little bits in there, and you basically do the exact same. I'm not going to bother doing the same on the other side because we don't need it. I'm just doing it for your guys' benefit. Okay. Next we have the actual rail that the missile is going to mount on. Okay, but we have to assemble the rail first. So off of E2, E1, and E6. Okay. I didn't paint these guys. I did not realize these missile rails were supposed to be white when I was doing this. That's kind of humorous. Normally I don't paint missile rails white. Oh, because they're usually not inside of a weapons bay like this, where everything is white. So, and I'm not even sure why I'm cleaning up the nubs on these, because I'm not going to actually mount any missile to them. These go together. Oops, we got a nub to clean here. Actually, it's just a bit of flashing. Flashing? What? Hasegawa, how did you get flashing on your parts? These two eventually will go together when I get rid of all the flashing. There. There's no pins or anything that hold these together, so that's why it's a little bit funky in its assembly. Normally you've got little pins and whatnot that to guide these things together, but not in this case. So you just kind of line them up. Just kind of line them up. I'm going to use a little clip here just to help me keep these guys together because they're not quite perfect. They are not perfect. But like I said, I want to show you guys the whole process, everything that's involved, even if I'm not actually using this. I'm going to grab another clip just for the front of it here. This. Until that glue sets. We're going to set that down. Give that a minute. Take a sip of coffee. Relax. We have this little guy who's going to go on the end. He's cleaned up and he's ready to go. So I think I can take this one off now. He's going to go on the end here. And he's going to sit just like this. Okay. So I need my slower glue to put him on. Take this off now. I actually want to glue the tip here. Clamp it again. Glue on the tip right there. And then where'd he go? There he is. That's going to go in just like this. And just sit on the edge. Just like that. And then you have your missile rack. Okay? So we'll just let that sit there. We've got 3 more pieces to grab. E7 and 8 and 32 off of our E tree. 7, 8, and 32. 7 and 8 are right here and here. These are ones that I found on my own kit. They wanted to fall off on me quite a bit. I need 32. This guy here. Okay. Because they just kind of sit in the bay, my missile wants to fall out all the time. Any type of little imperfection. So these guys, they go into these slots in the very bottom here. This guy just simply goes into that hole. Doink. Straight like that. So he's a simple install. Okay, just straight into that hole there, just like that. Just make sure it's straight up and down, and he'll be happy in his new home. Straight up and down, and he's good. Okay, just like that. This guy, let's clean him up a little bit here. He goes, you'll notice that see how he goes, these are on an angle, he's angled, right? So he doesn't sit straight up and down. And he's going to be angled towards this side, towards our wall that we installed, okay, towards this side, just like the picture shows. And of course he's got that big fork, so obviously he's the one that goes into these 2 holes like this. Okay, like that. So just to make my life a little easier, put him in just like that. Okay? You see just how far down into the hole he wants to go. Get him all the way in. There we go. Okay, and you can see it's on an angle there, right? Okay, third, this guy. he is also on an angle, and he's going to do the same thing, same direction, kind of angling back, except of course he's just got his rectangular peg. So let's just do a test fit. He sits in there. It's actually a little bit tight fit, so that's good. So that's how he sits. Okay. So do this. Put him in. Same direction. Just like that. Okay? You want to make sure these are all lined up in a nice straight line. Okay? Because your missile rack is going to go on there. And they're supposed to line up in our 3 holes here. Okay? That is the big challenge here, is lining everything up and getting your missile rack onto these. And it's because of that alignment that this becomes a bit of a challenge. You see what I mean? There we go. Alright, missile rack is on. Just like that. Okay, that's how she looks. Ready to have a missile installed. Okay, now this is where the challenge comes in, because this is going to go in here like this, and that missile will be sticking out. And that's all right and fine, okay, because when the doors open, that thing comes up like that. Which means, because they want this, my client wants this closed, so I can't have the missile rack in there. This has to come out. Okay, so all that I did for nothing. How about that? So we're going to remove it. Remove these. These all got to come out. Okay, just like that. And I'll just leave the bay like that, and that'll be it. So I'll put these all aside. Don't glue them together. But that's how they go. So that is our weapons base. And there are decals to put in there too for your detail and all this stuff, but we don't need to worry about that because my weapons bays are going to be closed. So now we're going to take a look at this. Remember what we did on the top fuselage? We got to clean these pins off on the bottom. These same ones. Bunch of little pins here and one here. It's like right there, right here, and where else? We've got them back here on these little bumps. There. And there. And just file them down. That's easier than using the knife. A little more control too. Here we go. we're all clean and they're smooth now. There we go. Good. I'm happy with that. So now, that cleaned up, see it says shape it nicely, written in Japanese. Now we're going to put our weapons bays in the plane. Okay? So, like I said before, these guys go in like this. And we've done our due diligence and made sure that they're all, that it's smooth and it's going to fit nice and flush. So, we're ready for some glue. Get this guy put in his new home where he's going to be happy. He's going to sit like this, right? Sorry if I did that off camera. I got some glue on my finger. That's not nice. That's okay. Yeah, my fingers are black now. I got primered fingers. I'm gonna check something here. Okay. Alright, so we got that side in. Okay? And that's the way it's going to look on your plane when you build it. Okay? I'm going to take this one now. Now I can see a little bit of a gap, which means it's not actually glued here. So I need to fix this. I want it actually touching. I don't think there's actually anything I can do about it. I've got a little bit of a nub I didn't clean right there, causing me fitment problems. There. And that again is why I say you got to clean up your nubs on these pieces really good and make sure it's nice and smooth, otherwise it's not going to fit flush. I am actually tempted to take a little piece of sprue or something and actually just put it along here. I wound up having to do that with the cockpit because it just wasn't connecting properly. I'll show you what I had to do. So you guys saw when I glued in the cockpit, right? And it fit nice and it fit really perfect back here, but it wasn't actually fitting. I couldn't get any glue anywhere on the front. So I just took a couple of pieces of sprue and I just put them down in there and on each side here and here and glued them in so that the front of the cockpit is staying nice and solid in there now against the fuselage, because it was just kind of hanging, right? So having done that, I'm a little tempted to take a piece of sprue and maybe put it right against here just to give it a little something extra to hold it. But it seems to be doing okay by itself. I'll have to sand this down before I paint, because that's a little bit of a blemish now where my finger was touching. Anyway, let's check this one out. Looks like I did a better job cleaning up the sprues and getting this one to line up nicely. So let's get some glue on this one. It's 3 sides. Just hold it for a minute. Good. of these Tamiya glues that come like this in these jars. They got the nice, really tiny brush, but they got the big lid. Can make it a bit of a challenge getting in a tight spot sometimes. This weapon bay, where I added those extra little boxes and stuff, that actually does look a lot nicer. But I'm not going to be doing any of the panel lining detail that I normally do in on my like landing gear bays and stuff like that, because, well, we're going to be closing these all up and you're never going to see them. So yeah, that's going to be it's a little bit of a disappointing thing, but it is what it is. Okay, those two are in, and now we go with our main. Now you want to have this one slants also. See, all three of them, the slant forward, right? This one slants forward also, and this one's going to slide in. See, I should have done this one first. I might actually have to pull one of these out. I'm going to pull this out now. Which one did I do first? This one, unfortunately, I gotta remove. See, they don't tell you which one to put in first. But in order to get this in here, it's got to tuck underneath the other two. Just like that. Thanks a lot, guys. See, there you go. So there's lesson learned. Put this bottom one in first. See, with the side ones in, I can't even get at the glue. I can't even get at that section to glue the sides of it. Because it actually sits flush against this pod. Which means to glue the pod, this pod in, again, I'm going to have to put glue on that edge before I actually put it in. So this dries a little slower, so slather some of that on there and put them in. Just like that. And we will re-glue him in a spot. Now you want to add some rigidity to this thing. You can actually glue the pods to each other along these edges. Do this and glue them. I don't think I'm going to go that route though. I want to give it that little bit of flexibility for when I'm putting the upper and lower halves of the fuselage together. I want to be able to have that little bit of flexibility there. You can see that, just that little bit. I don't want that glued to each other like this. I'm going to give myself some flexibility on it. Anyway, there we go. We're in, and we have our 3 weapons bays installed, just like that. And that's what they would look like if you're displaying it open. But I'm not, right? Next we've got our main landing gear, or our front landing gear, nose gear bay. That's going to go in right here. Okay. That's F11 off of our F tree. Where's my F-tree? Where's my F-tree? There it is. F11. This guy here. This guy here, same deal. We've got our edge that needs to go be nice and flush. Now, again, why am I putting this in here? Because this little box will add some rigidity to the fuselage, because this is pretty flimsy, right? So we look at our instructions. We've got the little part, this part that's lower, that is going to go towards the front, like this. Okay, and they've got a little piece here. We're going to poly cap that's going to go in here. I'm not going to bother with the poly cap and the little plastic cap that is going to go over top to install here. I'm not going to bother with that. That's actually for the front landing gear post that's going to go in here. But we're not doing landing gear, so I'm not going to do that for you. Okay, sorry guys. This guy's going to go in. He's going to drop in right there, just like this, and just sit. Okay, he's going to just sit right there, and it's going to look like this once he's inside. Okay, there's not a lot of detail in the front bay. It's just looks like some rivets, and that's about it, right? Nothing really spectacular about it. So I'm just going to put some glue all along the edge here. And drop him down in. Like that. And that's it. It's going to sit just like that. Okay? Just like that. Done. Now, you may have noticed I missed F7. F7 goes in right there, and that's part of a hinge. I'm not going to bother with that, obviously. Maybe I should have. I don't know. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to grab F7. It looks like that might help me in putting our bay doors on. So F7, I got little hooks here. And he's going to slide into these little slots back here, like this. So I'll just glue him in. And now, back to gluing this guy in. And we'll put him back. Okay, he's back in. Except now we've got two little hook things in there. I don't think that's really going to make anything significant about putting these doors on, but hey, who knows? Didn't know until I installed them, right? Okay, that makes this page done. Okay, finished here. So we flip the page over, and now we're going to deal with landing gear bay stuff, okay, and some walls to add some rigidity to the frame. But first thing I want to do, before I go to this, I want to close up our landing gear bays. Or not our landing gears, our weapons bays. I want to close them up. Which means I'm going to grab these. Now it does show us later on in the book, so I'm going to skip ahead and show you here. So So they show you all the detail here if you're going to be having them open, displayed open, right? So later on when I get to this part, I'll show you guys how this all goes together and how they would go in, okay? But for today, we're going to be closing them up. And that's there, right? We're going to close these up. So, let's just put this aside. We're going to grab these off of here. That one. And of course, this is, even if you're not going to be having your bay doors closed, these are a good template for spray painting the plane later. These really help out for painting later on, right? Clean this up. There we go. Okay. So, got to make sure that these are all nice and smooth. Otherwise, it's going to look like crap. They won't fit in there. They won't fit flush. They'll just give you a headache. And even if you do happen to press them in there from some kind of brute force, what happens is you're going to have a little bit of a gap where the nub is sticking out. So they've even put this on a little bit of a ledge for you to help get it sitting where it's supposed to be. So I just want this a nice, perfectly straight edge. Okay, I have to do that with all 4 of these. And normally I just, cut off the nubs with my knife, but I want a perfectly straight edge. Sometimes I have a tendency to kind of gouge the plastic with my knife a little bit. In my attempt to remove the nub, and of course I want these perfectly straight, so which is why I'm just filing them down and do that this way instead, so I've got a nice straight edge where the nubs used to be. One more. One final edge. There we go. Okay. So, these guys do only go, like, you can't, it's pretty hard to mix them up. They only go in one direction. And so that just sits in there. See, these are great. It's great if you just wanted to use these as a mask for painting. And just do that, right? And you can just have them sit down like this, and you're perfect. You're good to go. It's a nice, perfect fit. They fit nicely. Obviously not perfectly flush because I got to clean up a little bit of flashing on the front edge. But that's not too much of a big deal here. Just a little bit of flashing to clean here to get this edge crisp. Edge 2 is just a little bit of flashing. Okay, this one kind of had it in the same spot. Just a little bit of flashing on that little corner. There we go. Okay, I think we're ready to glue these in and hide all of our detail in there. Let's get those out from underneath. So I've got a nice flat surface. There we go. Okay, this is a little bit disappointing for me after all the work I did in there, but customer's always right? Glue the two together also in the middle. There we go. The main weapon bay is closed, and we're going to do a similar thing on the side ones. So let's just check before I even test fit, make sure I got no flashing. Okay. I think these might be lefts and rights. It doesn't want to fit in there. Let's try it on this side. They are lefts and rights, definitely. The way this is angled, it's just a matter of getting it in there. These ones are a much tighter fit. Almost don't need glue, but it also means there, we're in. I don't need glue for this one. It's not a perfect alignment here. It's perfect back here, but not here. I'll have to put a little bit of putty to fill in the gap on the front of this one. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but on this line and this line I've got a little gap here and here. This one's perfect and this one's perfect, but this line and this line there's a gap. Back here all four are perfect. So yeah. Okay, let's try this side. This side is just as troublesome. And I'm going to shave this down a little bit here. This edge needs to be a little more of a wedge and not straight for me to get that in there. So I'm just going to shave this on a bit of an angle like this. See if it'll be a little more cooperative. really make this a tight fit, I'll tell you that. So tight, in fact, this one doesn't want to go in this corner. I'm going to have to hold that with my fingernail, otherwise it's going to be sticking out. The rest of it go in though. Kind of have the same issue on this side. Like I said, these are definitely lefts and rights, and it wasn't going to go in at all. It was just the way these are matched up on the sides here, they do not match if you got them backwards. But I've got the same issue here. This line here is perfect and this line's perfect, but this one's got a gap and this one's got a gap. Yeah, it's just the way it is. I also have an issue here with this corner wanting to stick out for some reason. It doesn't want to stay in the pocket. But there we go. Our weapon bays are closed. All right. And so that, guys, is where I'm going to leave it for today. I was hoping to start on the landing gear, but you know, it is a little bit of a shame that to have all that detail for the weapons base and then to just cover it all up and close it. But like I said, my client wants to have this displayed in flight with everything all buttoned up. So that's what he wants, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do a similar thing with the landing gear bays. Next time I will show you how they assemble, but I'm not going to put them in on the plane because for obvious reasons I need to button it all up and close it up for them. So yeah, the biggest challenge is the front ones, because these ones actually go together. They're not flat, they go together like this to match the contour of the nose. And so those are a bit of a challenge. I remember when I was doing that on the Italeri, that was a real challenge, getting those to get at the right angle and stay there. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it today, guys. I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, because once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to have a special series where I'm building an F-16 with my fiance. We're going to build the same plane together. I'm going to show you guys you don't have to be a professional to build one of these kits, and you can do a decent job and have it looking good on your shelf. So that'll be a special little series we're going to do once I hit 1,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button and check out the links down below. You can see my Instagram and stuff like that. I take still pictures of all the stuff that I build once I've finished building them, and you can check those out if you feel like it too. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support, and we'll see you all in the next one.